SWV, Sisters with Voices, consists of members Shara Coco Gamble, Tamara Taj Johnson, and the group's founding member Leanne Lily Lyons, who all hail from New York City. Friends Coco and Lily grew up in the Bronx, while Taj grew up in Brooklyn. The three ladies came from a musical background. Lily's mom and sister played piano, and her dad's side of the family were in different forms of entertainment. Lily was a big fan of Stacey Lattisaw and Whitney Houston. She sang in the gospel group along with childhood friend Coco. When Lily saw Shanice Wilson on Star Search, that's when she knew she wanted to make it in the music business. Coco's mom discovered that her daughter could sing at only 9 months old. Her mom was a professional session singer and was a member of the New York City Community Choir. By age 3, Coco was in a children's choir led by her mom. Taj started singing in elementary school. She gained confidence when she auditioned and earned a spot in her school's chorus. Before she could take singing seriously, tragedy struck twice. First was when she lost her dad at the age of 9. Then later, she lost her mom at 14. While trying to find her way in life, she at one point considered joining the Air Force, but fortunately, there was a better opportunity just ahead. The idea of forming a girl group was envisioned by Lily, who recruited her friend Coco, who then invited her friend Taj to join and form SWV. After making a demo and mailing it to every music exec in the industry, SWV was able to get a record deal with RCA in 1991. Then on October 27, 1992, they released their debut album, It's About Time. The New Jack Swing album, filled with up-tempo songs and love ballads, peaked at number 2 on the R&B chart, making it a success. It sold 3 million copies, becoming one of the best-selling albums of 1993. Each of the album's 7 singles became top 20 hits on the R&B chart. But it was the third single week that rose to the top spot on the Billboard Hot 100 chart in July of '93. It would be the group's biggest hit, as well as their signature song. This relatable love song about a young person falling in love for the first time was crafted by Brian Alexander Morgan, also known as Bam. You may not know the name, but you may know his voice, which was featured on SWV's You're Always on My Mind, which he also wrote and produced. Now you're the only one I want in my life. Years before working with SWV, Bam was part of an R&B trio during the mid to late 80s back in his hometown of Wichita, Kansas. They wanted to be the next Shalimar. Well, one night after a Club Nouveau concert in Kansas, Club Nouveau's founder, Jay King, got Bam's group's demo through a friend. At that time, Club Nouveau was huge with hits like Jealousy, Situation Number 9, and their Grammy Award-winning song, Lean On Me. After listening to the demo, Jay promised them that he can get them a record deal. And 2 weeks later, Jay asked them if they were ready to move to his hometown of Sacramento, California, and sign to Warner Brothers. And of course, they said yes. But unfortunately, before signing, one of the group members had to part ways due to personal issues. So the group became a duo. The duo called themselves Chanté Moore, which means unique voice in French. The French name was inspired by Club Nouveau. Bam said, that was just a little corny little thing to fit in with the Club Nouveau thing. We said, let's have a French name too. That was just my 21-year-old brain going, oh, look at us, we're in this clique too. The duo signed to Warner Brothers in 1987 and released their first and only album called Personal the following year. The album was entirely written and produced by Bam. In the liner notes of the album, singer Chanté Moore got a shout out. It read, Chanté, I can't wait to listen to your song. We'll get back to her a little later. Things for Chanté Moore didn't go as planned because their album flopped, Warner Brothers dropped them, and the duo went their separate ways. However, it didn't discourage Bam from trying to make a name for himself in the music industry. Refusing to move back to Kansas and motivated by his musical aspirations, Bam stayed in Sacramento and moved in with a producer friend of his. Not wanting to quit, Bam started to write and produce music for others. He did work for a group called LaRue for their 1989 album. Then he went on to write and produce songs for singer Martha Wash, including her #1 dance club hits, Give It To You. At Bam's apartment complex, there was another singer living there, a former Warner Brothers label mate of his named Chanté Moore. Bam and Chanté became good friends, but it wouldn't get any further than that because Jay King was seeing her and Bam didn't want to get in between the two. Despite this, he had a secret crush on her, and unbeknownst to anyone, he wrote a song professing his love called Weak in 1989.
Get right off of my feet. explain why your love it makes me weak. Time after time, I'm trying to fight it.
He was heavily influenced by the Gap Band and wrote it with the idea of Charlie Wilson singing it. Years later, SWV said the song was first offered to him but passed on it. Could you imagine a Charlie Wilson version of Weak? While trying to get a deal as a solo artist, Bam made a demo that included Weak. By 1992, the demo eventually landed in the hands of an RCA Records employee who played it at his desk. The label's A&R, Kenny Ortiz, overheard it and immediately called Bam, telling him he needed those songs for his new group SWV. The problem was, Bam was busy working with another artist of theirs, Martha Wash. Kenny was persistent and mailed Bam a copy of SWV's demo. Bam listened to it and loved their voice, especially Coco's, but he felt that their sound was all over the place. Nonetheless, he saw a connection between his song Weak and Zapp's Computer Love. Coco's voice reminded him of Sherry Murdoch, who was featured on Computer Love along with none other than Charlie Wilson. Even though he was still working on Martha Wash's album, Bam flew to New York and went to the studio with SWV to record some of his tracks, including Weak, for their debut album It's About Time. 6 of the 7 singles from the album was written and produced by Bam, but it was his love